Welcome to another episode of Star Wars Talk. I'm Jon Berry, and today I'm reviewing yesterday's episode of Star Wars Resistance, Episode 10, Station Theta Black. As you may already know, I had no motivation to actually create a video to review the second episode of Star Wars Resistance. I made the decision that I would not review every single episode at that point. If you're curious about what I was going to do for that review, the unedited audio I had originally created is available to all my patrons on Patreon, so go check that out if you're curious. About 2 weeks ago, I made a video going over my thoughts about Star Wars Resistance so far. Link to that video is in the cards if you want to watch it. But since then, the last episode of 2018 has aired, and you know what? I really enjoyed it. And being the mid-season mark, and also being the last one of 18, and I enjoyed it, I thought I would go ahead and review it. So here is my review of Star Wars Resistance, Station Theta Black. The official premise of the episode is, and I quote, "When Poe and Kaz find an old First Order mining facility, BB-8 discovers the facility isn't so abandoned," unquote. And now for a quick plot summary from me. Kaz heads off to meet Poe and deliver the copy that he made of the First Order's proposal to Captain Doza from the previous episode. Kaz delivers the intelligence directly to General Leia Organa on board a CR-90 corvette. There, Poe asks Kaz to be his wingman on a reconnaissance mission. Before they leave, Leia orders Poe not to engage the First Order, over Poe's objections, may I add. Poe and Kaz discover an abandoned First Order asteroid mining facility that is scheduled to be demolished that day. The First Order arrive to conduct the demolition and to investigate a silent alarm that they went off, which was silent, so the Poe and Kaz didn't know about. The First Order managed to corner Poe and Kaz, and Poe in a roundabout way engages the First Order as they flee back to the hangar so that they can escape. They do manage to escape the station, and they barely survive the demolition blast the First Order hoped would destroy them. Before I continue, if you find yourself enjoying this review at any time, please leave a like. Also, to stay up to date on all my non-YouTube stuff, and my YouTube stuff as well, consider following me on Twitter or on Facebook. You can also check out my website, and I also have a Discord server now. Links are in the description. My question for you today is, what did you think of Star Wars Resistance Station Theta Black? Let me know your answers in the comment section down below. Now, back to my review. I really enjoyed how this episode opened, with Yeager letting Kaz take the fireball to get to his rendezvous with Poe. But guess what? Tam has yet to reinstall the stabilizers on board the fireball. Thankfully, Kaz does make it to the rendezvous point. There's just something about this scene that I liked. I can't really put it another way besides I liked it instinctually. There's really no other way to describe it. As I said earlier, Leia orders Poe not to engage the First Order on his and Kaz's reconnaissance mission. What this scene does is set up how Poe is a hero but not yet a leader, connecting with the arc that he goes through in The Last Jedi. Really, this entire episode shows how Poe is a hero but not a leader. The Force Awakens showed Poe as a hero, but did not comment on his leadership abilities. The Last Jedi directly challenged Poe to become a leader, and what it means to be a leader. What this episode of Star Wars Resistance does is bridge these two characterizations of Poe. We see Poe as a hero, but also why he is not a leader, but without him being challenged and forced to grow. Poe may be heroic, but he is reckless, and does not always consider the greater picture. Kaz is the voice of reason in this episode. Something we don't normally see, as Yeager is normally the voice of reason for Kaz. Poe does not listen to Kaz's objections about getting into a situation that forces them to engage with the First Order. And you know what? They get into trouble and Kaz barely escapes the facility's destruction, only doing so by using an asteroid as an additional shield. Which, to be honest, I don't know if it would really work using an asteroid as a shield. But regardless, when Poe thought Kaz and BB-8 had been killed, I could tell in his voice that he was in a panic, and if they had been killed, he just might have learned the lesson that he learned in The Last Jedi, but sooner. However, for the audience, if it wasn't for Oscar Isaac's acting and the emotion that he put into his voice, the scene would have hardly had any suspense or emotion. This is because, for us the audience, we know BB-8 has to survive since he is in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And Kaz, he's the main character of Resistance and subsequently has plot armor. And nothing, I mean nothing, beats plot armor besides plot convenience. Perhaps if CB-23 was with Kaz rather than Poe, then we could have had the scene be more suspenseful. But what do you think? We really don't know enough about CB-23 to have an emotional connection to her, nor have we really had enough screen time. Speaking of CB-23, in the episode where she was introduced, she and BB-8 did not initially get along, but that changed in the episode and they became friends. In that episode it is hinted at, but in this episode it is said out loud by Poe that BB-8 and CB-23 have a crush on each other. The way heroes in Star Wars treat droids, either like pets or equals, it varies. It makes sense, and it does really cute on screen to have these two droids have a relationship. But what I think it really is doing is furthering the discussion about droids in Star Wars, and can they have feelings and essentially be alive despite not being organic? Could they even use the Force? Could they have emotions? Something to think about. This video is brought to you by my 1000 subscriber goal Q&A video coming out later this year. On Friday, December 14th, I will begin scripting the video, but I will continue to take your questions until Friday, December 21st. You can submit your questions in the comment section of the video linked in the cards, or by tweeting at Jon Berry 555. And for my patrons, by responding to my Q&A thread on Patreon. My Q&A will be coming out Monday, December 24th, Christmas Eve. That'll be my Christmas gift to you. I would like to end my review with this. This is by far my favorite episode of Star Wars Resistance so far. I chalk it up to how this episode ties into Poe's arc in The Last Jedi, and showing why the arc was important for Poe to go through. The episode also did a lot of lampshading of Kaz's clumsiness. At times it felt out of place, but at other times it worked itself nicely into the story, which I really like. But it also comments on the training of the New Republic Navy. If the rest of them are like Kaz, the First Order may not have needed Starkiller Base to destroy the New Republic. Though I don't really think that's the case, because we learned in the first few episodes that Kaz essentially got everything handed to him because his father was a senator. But this episode strongly suggests that most of the training in the New Republic is done in simulators, and that they get very little practical military experience. Something to keep in mind, as I think that might play into a later story that addresses how the First Order took control of the galaxy after the destruction of Harzian Prime. That concludes my review of Star Wars Resistance, Station Theta Black. Thank you for watching my latest video. New videos come out every week, so consider subscribing and turning on notifications to be notified of when I release new content. Feel free to check out the video or the playlist on screen now. Lastly, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you always.